Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're having the entrepreneur you should know, and my special guest today is Jennifer Bingham. She is an amazing person, and here she is today. Jen, how are you?
Hi, Matt. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I wanted to just tell our listeners a little bit about you before you can go into a little bit further. But Jen is the owner and founder of Cru Cellars. They have 2 locations and are rapidly growing in the Tampa market. They consider themselves a restaurant and wine shop / bar. So we'll get into a little bit about the identity of Cru Cellars. And you've been in Tampa for 10 years. You are also a certified sommelier through the Court of the Master Sommeliers, which I've totally messed up, but you can tell me how to do it. You're originally from Ohio via Chicago, and you've been in Tampa Bay for 11 years. So let's begin the show.
Awesome. Yes.
So first off, I know I said it wrong. Can you say it the way it's supposed to be said?
I mean, I hear both. I hear sommelier is like how a lot of like English speakers say it, but then like the French way is sommelier. So you hear both.
Okay. Well, if you can educate everybody who's listening on the show, I would love to hear your story about Cru Cellars and how you got there, but also we want to hear about what it took to become this, certification. So we'd love to learn more about those 2 aspects.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking about sommeliers, I can talk a little bit about that process. There's multiple organizations that you can become certified through, but one of the more recognized ones and one that most people do in the restaurant business is the Court of Master Sommeliers, the one that I did. And there's 4 levels, and a lot of people have seen that movie Somm, where those guys are going for their master level, which is like level 4 out of 4, and very, very difficult, very low pass rate. And it's a lot of years of studying to achieve that level. I'm certified, which is the 2nd level. Okay. So I like that level because then you can call yourself a certified sommelier. I did it years ago. I'm going to age myself, but I did it in 2006 or 7, I think, when I was in the Chicago wine business. So
okay.
It's been a while.
Is that where you kind of cut your teeth, was in the Chicago markets?
Yeah. So I got into the wine business right after college. Actually, a little bit while I was still in college. I studied abroad in Australia, my junior year of college. And that's where I wasn't 21 yet, but we were able to visit wineries when we were there. And just realized that the wine industry was the whole industry and the whole career path that I could go on, and got a part-time wine job at a wine shop near my college. Nice. And then got right into the wine industry after college in Chicago.
I did a semester abroad in Rome, and I was only 20 as well. So I enjoyed the same European / Australian benefits.
Yeah.
So you kind of got hooked early. I mean, you just fell in love with this whole industry. And so for the last several years, you've been just you found your passion early, and you've been just growing and rapidly growing and in digging deeper into the history and all aspects of wine. What has been some of those exploring your past 10, 15 years? What has been some of those insights that you're like, oh, that makes sense now, or that was something I've always wondered and you found out?
Oh my gosh, with wine, there's so many. Oh gosh. Wine is so exciting, and it's an exciting career because you're always learning about wine. You can never know enough, or you can never know it all. So it's a very humbling thing to be involved in. I think lately, things that have interested me is champagne. In particular, champagne is it kind of is the opposite with a lot of the organic and natural wines that we talk about, because the wine kind of makes itself, but which is not super true, but kind of the thought that wine comes from the vineyard, and we carry a ton of organic and natural wines at Cru. But champagne's almost the opposite, because it is such a process to make the wine. And so I'm really fascinated by that right now, and all the little decisions that go into making champagne.
Yeah. Okay. So you're always learning. It's always exciting.
Yeah.
Uh, do you have a favorite region that you like personally, your personal taste? Is there a specific region that you enjoy drinking most?
Yes. Yes. I love Beaujolais. Beaujolais is a region in France that's in the southern part of Burgundy. So it's east and south of Paris.
Okay.
And Burgundy is known for Pinot Noir. That's the home place of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. But on the southern part of Burgundy is Beaujolais, and they grow a different grape called Gamay. And it's similar to Pinot Noir, but it's a little bit lighter. And so I really, really love light reds that you can even like throw in the fridge for a little bit that have a little chill on them.
Okay.
That's what they make, and it's like so much more affordable compared to Burgundy. Red Burgundy is very expensive, and it's getting more expensive by the day, but you can find a really awesome Beaujolais like for under $30 that has a lot of the complexity that you get from a Burgundy.
That's so why is that? Why is it cheaper?
Because wow, that's like a lot of questions, like a lot goes into it, but it doesn't yet have the prestige that Burgundy does.
Okay.
And Burgundy just has like this like whole Grand Cru system. It just has so many different levels and I guess more worldwide attention Burgundy does. Beaujolais is kind of like the hidden little sister or something.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you were in college, you experienced this Australia trip, you came back and you started the journey of learning more about wine. What was the next step? Like after you graduated college, did you open up Cru right away or did you work a little bit? How did it work?
Yeah, I moved to Chicago right after college from Ohio and got a job in the wine business right away. It was like very unglamorous at just like a kind of like a Whole Foods type of grocery store that doesn't exist anymore, but it was this in like the suburbs of Chicago, and they were doing a really nice fine wine department. So I was just doing wine there and moved around pretty quickly after that because that store didn't like survive for very long. But I got my second wine job was at a really, really high-end wine shop in Northbrook, which is north of Chicago, which is still there, called Knightsbridge. And that was a really cool place to be like at age 21, 22.
Sure.
I got a little bit jaded because like they sell some of the top Burgundies, Bordeaux, champagnes in the country. And they have a lot of people who spend a lot of money on wine. So working there, like I tried a ton of wines that I never would have gotten to try at that age. And also like, just was like, oh, well, if you spend $100 on a bottle of wine, that's not very expensive. Right. So I was there for a little bit and then went to work at a small wine shop in the Southport area, like in Lakeview in Chicago, called Cru Cellars. And the woman who was like my boss for a few months, she moved on. So at age 22, I had the opportunity to be the wine buyer at a store. So like, yeah, and that's like the way that you learn the most about wine is when you taste wine. And I had the opportunity at that age to taste. I tasted like hundreds of wines a week. So that's how I learned like a ton about wine at such a young age.
That's amazing. So when did you feel like your palate was starting to form? And because when you talk about people who are really good at wine tasting and can pull out everything, they really talk about your palate. And so when do you think your palate was kind of defined, if that's such a thing?
Yeah, I think like, I don't know. It just builds and builds. But I think like that job at that high end wine shop was really good because you learn what like a really good and balanced wine is and what it can be. And then taking that back to more of like the everyday level that I was dealing with at Cru Cellars. Like the thing that you're tasting for most of all is balance and how all the components go together. And if it's not balanced, it's not going to be very good. So yeah.
So when you had a chance to step into this role at 22, were you nervous, scared? Were you thinking about saying no?
No, I was just going with it. I was like, they like divided the role up and they gave another woman like all the accounting and like office stuff. And I was like more mad. I was like, I can do all of it. But they gave me the wine part. So that was the fun part.
Hey, might as well. So you start to do the wine buying. Did you have success right away? Were you like, oh, I'm a natural, or did you kind of have some mistakes along the way when you were in that process?
Oh my gosh, this was so long ago. I think my biggest mistake was probably like buying too much. And that I still do that to this day. Like you just try, especially when the reps come and they bring you all this wine and you're like, yes, that's good. That's good. That's good. I'll take it all. So that's the hardest part, is balancing like, what you like. And then you have to learn what the customer likes, not just what you like, which I learned pretty quickly, but then also what the business can afford and what will sell.
Sure.
Yeah.
So when you started Cru, what was the goal of making it different or better or unique? What was your kind of passion that you wanted to add to Cru Cellars?
Well, coming to Tampa, I came to Tampa in 2009, like late 2009 from Chicago, and was a wine rep briefly. Like that's the job that I had when I first moved here. And so I quickly got like a lay of the land of like what was going on in the wine scene in Tampa, which wasn't much at that time. So they have Burns, of course, which is an amazing place. And I've spent a lot of money there over the years, drinking some great old wine. But there wasn't really anything which I was used to in Chicago, which like the wine shop I worked at was Syrah. We had like small production wines, but affordable. Most of the stuff we had is under $40 or $50 retail. And then same with after that, I worked at a wine bar in Chicago. And there was nothing like there was no good wine bar here in Tampa. So I was trying to bring that sort of like bigger city wine scene, wine mentality to Tampa.
Gotcha. And so how'd you come up with the name?
Cru, well, cru is a word that's used in Burgundy. We talked about Burgundy and Beaujolais and Champagne. It means literally growth, and it designates like a nicer vineyard where the soil is better for growing wine. So you'll hear terms like Grand Cru or Premier Cru. So I like the word. I mean, we were looking for wine terms to use. It's easy to say. It doesn't have a weird pronunciation like sommelier. And it's easy to remember. So that's how we settled on that.
It's so appropriate for anybody who lives in Tampa. You know about the Gasparilla parades. And so there's all these crews around as well. And so I always thought it was, before I actually met Jen, I always thought, oh yeah, it was kind of designed to, part of the crew. But then I learned the story a little bit more prior to this. And it was, it fit in like it's a double meaning. So it's
I know. I don't think I knew about the Gasparilla cruise when I named it. So that was out.
All right. So over the course of 10 years, what has been like some success stories you've had in terms of being in Palmacia and being in the neighborhood? Have you achieved those initial goals of being that standout wine bar, wine shop that kind of is for the normal drinker?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. It's been 10 years in Palmacia on McDill, and we have a great community of like regular customers and a lot of people in like our wine club. I think that we've created, something pretty special in South Tampa, where you can come and try lots of new wines. You can take classes and learn about wine. We really focus on that like education side. So we have so many tastings and classes. So I feel like we have created a great wine community in Tampa, in South Tampa at least.
When did you start the classes? Because that's a cool feature in terms of not only educating the community, but also I'm sure it's a revenue driver in terms of being able to generate more sales too.
Yeah, we started the classes early on. I think like I opened in the summer of 2010. And we started classes by like January of 2011. And we've done so many different formats and styles over the years. But that first one, we called it Cru U, like Cru University. We still call it that. And we do like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And, we weren't that busy at that time yet. We started the company with just my husband and me. We're the only ones working there. So I was teaching the classes, and we did like the freshman level was like once a week for 4 weeks in a row. So that was really fun because we all got to know each other really well. And I probably opened too much wine during those first classes because there were some late nights, but what it did was really like solidify like the community that we were trying to create early on.
Yeah, I'm sure for anybody who's, wanting to bring in a new culture, essentially the Chicago type culture, but in a Tampa type of way, it was challenging, I'm sure, at the beginning. And then last year, was it that you opened up in Armature Works?
Yeah, that one opened in 2018, like February 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there a different approach to that location versus the Palma Silla? Different goals or different kind of a orientation to consumer?
Yeah. We knew that it was going to be like a fast paced kind of like busier situation being in a food hall. So we made the list like a little bit smaller, but accomplish the same goals, like introducing people to really high quality small production wines, largely organic, that are affordable, that you the list is because it's so fast paced. But other component there either, but other than that, it's a similar concept, and we've been able to utilize kind of our little wine wall area and also some of their private space at Armature for classes and tastings there as well. So it's been a really awesome opportunity to get the brand out more to like more people instead of just like kind of the Palma Silla neighborhood.
Was that a scary time to kind of branch out to the second location because you were, at least in the Tampa market, you had that one location for, 8 years, if you will, before you opened that one?
Yeah. I was not scared at all. I don't know. I had seen like the food hall concept in other cities, and I was like, if that ever comes to Tampa, like we need to have a Cru there. And I just knew that would be perfect. Like that, I knew it was going to be busy. I knew Cru would be a great concept there. So I was more excited than scared, and it worked out pretty well.
You talk about this idea of the everyday wine. Can you go into a little bit about this philosophy that you have?
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that wine is expensive or intimidating, and I think most of what we focus on at Cru are wines that people in South Tampa can afford to drink every day. So honestly, most of what we have at Cru is under $30. Definitely like 90% of it's under like $45, $50. So really, yeah, wines that also you don't have to age. We have some nicer wines that will age. But most people are buying wine to drink that night or maybe the next night. So wines that you can pop open right away, that you can afford to drink a bottle a night if you want to. I know some of us were during quarantine. So yeah, just, approachable, delicious, that you don't have to like wait for, and that you don't have to spend a ton of money on.
Does that also, when you think of an everyday wine, does it have less preservatives in it because you don't need it to, preserve, meaning like less sulfites or anything like that? Is that part of an everyday wine type of approach?
Not necessarily. I think, and that's kind of separate. A lot of wines have sulfites. It's even like organic wines, the sulfites are naturally occurring, but a lot of the natural wine movement is trying not to add so much sulfites to it. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely part of it. But there are some ways that intersects. I mean, these natural wines and like low intervention wines are usually made to drink kind of right away. Some of them will age as well, but yeah, I think there's a lot. What we carry is a lot of organic and natural wines, and they are certainly good for kind of like popping open on an everyday basis.
When I think of everyday wine also, do you consider the alcohol content a factor in an everyday type of wine? I guess, from alcohol-free to standard dosing, is there a spectrum of alcohol concentration at all in there?
Yeah, that kind of goes along too with like the organic and natural movement of wine. I think a lot of like sommeliers and people in the wine business really enjoy drinking wines that are lighter. In general, like lighter reds have less alcohol content. So it's a little bit easier to drink them like on a weeknight and not get crazy. Um, but I don't think like the regular consumer is looking at that too much. So many people love like the cabs and the full bodied reds. And those have higher alcohol. So it's not really something that people are asking about often, but we certainly have the spectrum to offer.
Sure. You mentioned about, everything with quarantine and that. How did you pivot over the quarantine to kind of stay relevant as the community, place for people to get their wine, but also kind of stay relevant in the community, helping the community?
Yeah. It was a roller coaster, but our team did an awesome job. Really quickly, we put together a survivor case, we called it, and it was just 12 bottles of affordable everyday, like really everyday wine. We have a whole table of wine that is under $15. So I put 12 bottles from that table in the box and called it the survivor case. And I think it was $140. And we sold like hundreds of those. So that was really fun. And our team got like our online capabilities up really quickly so people could order food and wine from the website and not have to come in and everything. So we did a lot really quickly. And we were just so lucky that we had the restaurant, but we also had the retail, and people were stocking up and drinking a lot of wine. So that helped us a lot.
Do you think that you were able to maintain the customers, during quarantine, or was that a challenge for you, or were you able to kind of understand like which customers you might have retained and which ones you didn't retain?
Oh gosh, I don't really know, but I know that we got a ton of good feedback on social media. We gained a lot of followers, and we got a lot of good feedback on like the retail that we're offering. We also saw, we've always had like a natural wine section, but we saw like more interest in natural wine during that time. I think maybe people had a little bit more time to kind of like look into what they wanted to drink. And a lot of those natural wines are just so delicious and yummy and easy to drink right away. So we were seeing a lot more interest in that. I think when you're drinking a lot, you want something refreshing and light like natural wine offers. And a lot of people who get into natural wine always want to like, okay, what's next? Like, what's the next new thing to try? So we definitely saw some traction on that during quarantine.
Yeah. By the way, I was just thinking about this. Do you watch Shark Tank? Damon John?
I have watched it, yes.
He's called the People's Shark. Well, I think that your new social media thing should be the People's Sommelier. Because really you're about helping the community appreciate wine, whatever level they are. It sounds like you go above and beyond different than your competitors anyway. You go above and beyond to make it really easy. Freshman, junior, sophomore, junior classing and classes, and then kind of the table. You only bring good wine into your retail shop, but these ones are only $15. Like, try it and you'll like it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, honestly, it sounds like fun, but we do the hard part. We try so many wines. And
the hard part. Yeah. Try
it. It's so hard. My teeth get red.
Yeah. I feel bad for you. I really, your whole team, you're working so hard.
Yep.
How did you add meals? Because I would imagine, a wine bar and focusing on retail was a full-time job. And then you added the dinner part, the meals, the restaurant. Was that right away, or was that something you've added over the years?
Over the years, it's hard when someone comes into Cru and they've never been there. It's like, I feel like I'm vomiting all over them with like all of the things that we do, because we have retail, we have wine classes, we have a restaurant, a wine bar, we have cheese, we have full dinner. So you're trying to like tell them everything that we do. Oh, we have a wine club too. So we do so much stuff when it involves wine, and food goes with wine. So we started, when we started Cru, we only had the retail and we had the bar, but I came from a wine bar in Chicago where we only had cheese and charcuterie. So that's how we started. My husband was in the back making the cheese plates, and I was in the front serving the wine. and he was doing the dishes. He still will not wash wine glasses at home. He refuses to wash wine glasses because he washed so many wine glasses that first year by hand. But yeah, so I think we were hopeful that it had more of like a big city feel in Tampa than it did. And I think we learned pretty quickly that people wanted more food. They wanted to stay longer and have more food. So we added a kitchen.
That's not a problem. Keep thinking.
So we added a kitchen in like 2012. So less than like a year and a half after we opened, we added a full kitchen and added a chef and had like a nice little menu. And that's evolved over the years. Like the first kitchen we added was very simple. And then like a few years later, we added more like substantial kitchen and got like a real more like executive chef that did the menu and everything. And we also like added a wine garden and added a patio outside. So just different stuff. We've really grown like very slowly as we could at that location over 10 years.
Yeah, it seems like you are following the rule book when it comes to growing a business, because seems like you would, improve it every year. You make some small improvements to now 10 years later, you have, such an amazing organization and, business at the Palmacia location. And I think that that's just something to be honored. A lot of people, entrepreneurs or people who are not entrepreneurs, assume that we just all go out and get financing and get venture capital and just boom, we're big. But for the true entrepreneurs, you start and you just use your profits to grow, and you grow and you grow as much as you can, and I think that's a respect, that I give to you in terms of your ability to grow in a very, strong fashion. So.
Yeah, it was a long process, but yeah, then you look back and you're like, wow, look at everything we've done over 10 years.
It's impressive. I don't know how you did it, but it's impressive.
I don't know either.
One of the things, hanging out with you and having, events with you is really, you always start with the sparkling wine, or you often start with a sparkling wine. Is that something that you do, or is that's a trend that a lot of people do? Or tell me about that, because it's something that I've noticed and I admire, and I'm starting to try it myself. So.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that you noticed that. Yeah, I think in the business, a lot of people start with bubbly. It's just, I think a lot of times we're always, as sommeliers, we're trying to tell people like, oh, you should drink sparkling wine like all the time. Like it's not just for special occasions. And so a lot of time we're kind of starting our day with, not our day.
Coffee, sparkling wine. All right. Starting my day.
Yeah, but yeah, for like an event, it's nice to kind of warm your palate up and have a little bit of sparkling wine for sure.
Besides is there a true warming up the palate? Is it like, sensing, is it increasing the sensitivity or anything like that?
Oh gosh, I don't know scientifically, but I think it does kind of, it gets you in the mood to kind of explore and drink some wine. Right?
Pop in a cork. All right. I have some cool questions I want to ask and pick your brain. Okay. And I've never done this before, so we're going to try it. It's going to be a rapid answer for what wine would you pair with this meal or food, I'm going to say. And I want the first answer that comes off. And if you have like a specific year or brand or something you want to just add to it, or you can stay like very short, like a generic or long term. So if it's a 1992, whatever. All right. So I'm going to name 5 pieces of food, and I want you to know kind of what's the first wine that you would pair with it. And the first one is a medium rare filet mignon.
Oh gosh, I think I'd have to go Bordeaux here. Bordeaux is a region in France that has Cab Merlot blends.
Okay. Lightly seasoned chicken breast.
Cabernet Franc from the Loire Valley.
Okay. Blackened grouper, not the sandwich, blackened grouper meal.
I'll do a Chardonnay with high acid, maybe a little bit of oak. You could go like white Burgundy or like a nice California Chardonnay.
Okay. Hot dogs.
Ew.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, everyday wine. Hot dogs are part of everyday food sometimes.
I don't know what wine goes with a hot dog. I want to say champagne.
All right, kind of you're going with that appetizer type of feel. And then pizza.
Ooh, champagne is also really good with pizza, but if you want to go more traditional, I'd go with like a Tuscan Sangiovese, like a Chianti or a Brunello.
Okay. All right. Those are my 5 pieces. Anything else you would want to add to those? You wanted to give anything else specifics?
Oh gosh. Well, I think like when it comes to food pairing, like you should drink what you like first and foremost, and there you can have so much fun after that. But if someone says that you should drink this with that, like there's always more than one option. And if you just hate white wine, then don't drink white wine.
All right, fair enough. So we're at the beginning of fourth quarter. Where is your fourth quarter for 2020 headed? What are you planning on? What's in your work on Cru Cellars these days?
Well, we've done a lot of work in kind of this downtime of COVID to really emphasize the restaurant portion of our business at Cru at both locations. So we've always had way more wine sales than food sales. And we still hear after 10 years, like, oh, I didn't know that you had food. So we've really tried to emphasize that. And so we've really focused on the restaurant. Our current general manager and operations person has done a lot of work making our service a lot better. And we've hired a lot more servers lately. So more comprehensive training around wine as well. So we're really working on that. And then getting into the holidays, we always traditionally do a ton of holiday parties at Cru. We have like the nice retail area where you can spread out and have lots of mingling events for like up to 50 people. And we even do like some close downs where we have like 130 people in there. So that we just don't really know what to expect with that for this year, but we are ready, and we are working on like some nice catering packages, and also working on like some smaller like opportunities for just like a smaller, more intimate dinner, like a wine dinner that you could have with your company or your friends there. So getting ready for that. In addition to catering, like catering something we've always done like a tiny bit of, but we're really trying to focus more on like we can come to your house and pour wine and do a beautiful like cheese display. So we're looking at some of that stuff for the holidays. In addition to retail wine, of course, you can buy lots of retail wine for Thanksgiving, holiday, Christmas, gifts, all that.
All right, I know where I'm going to come for all my holiday gifts this season. I'm just going to, I pulled up your website earlier. I'm going to show everybody your website is just awesome. I know it was recently redone, but man, I got lost and it just kind of amazed by all these great pictures. Did you have a professional photographer take these pictures? Because it's just a really cool imagery, and just really, it made me think of like an old, like an art, not old in a bad way, but like old in like a rustic type of way in terms of all the way you display all your wines.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we did have a professional do the photos. We did like a small renovation in the bar about a year ago now. And right after that, we had a woman who like specializes in like photographing spaces come take up pictures of the space. And then one of the women that worked for me at the time, she's since moved on and moved to New York, but she really spearheaded getting this website redone, and she did an awesome job.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice. Two things I thought that were really cool on your website. One is the Cru membership. Can you talk a little bit about your Cru membership?
Yeah. The Cru membership is basically our wine of the month club. And so if you join, you get 2 bottles of wine every month. That's the value of the membership, which is $40 a month. We also have like a higher end membership. If you want 2 nicer bottles a month, it's $75. So the value is made up right away in the wine, but then you get all these other benefits. One of the main ones is you get 10% off retail wine all the time. So anytime you want to come buy wine, you get 10% off. And then you also get a free appetizer in the bar restaurant once a month as well.
Cool. Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Is this one of, in terms of being a community, being a community member in a, community bar approach, is that something that helped created that culture that you're looking for?
For sure. Yeah, a lot. That woman actually, and she's been a member. She was probably like my second or third member. So she's been a member for 10 years. And they come in probably every week to Cru, to the restaurant. The other thing you get when you join, you get to come to our Wine Wednesday tastings, which are traditionally a couple times a month. We're doing it a little bit different right now because of COVID, but traditionally they're twice a month, and they're really informal, like 6 to 8 on a Wednesday. And you just like come in and taste kind of like what's new to the shop. And then you can stay for dinner. So that's really driven a lot of people like together to get to know each other at Cru, other people who like wine.
There you go. And then the online ordering I thought was unique in terms of not necessarily unique for just restaurants, but for your approach to everything in terms of the wine bar and everything like that. Was that one of the new features you added?
Yeah. Yeah. Our point of sale system offers the integration for online ordering. And so that company did a great job during COVID, and our team, our operations director, got us on that platform very quickly. It was like one of those things that was on the list to do, but like we saw very quickly we need to do this right now, and so we did. And so that really helped, if people feel more comfortable to order online during this crazy time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other aspects of the website you want to highlight for anybody who's watching?
Well, you can check out our food menu if you go to the location that you're going to be visiting under locations, and then you can see the regular food menu if you want to come dine for dinner at Cru, and also the wine list, which we just redid the wine list at both locations.
So I'm here at the Palmacia, and there's a menu on this.
Scroll down, the menu should be down there.
All right, there it is, the menu.
Yeah.
Let's see, what did I order today? Ooh, truffle fries, always a plus. Cheese curds. Well, I'm from Wisconsin. Well, not from Wisconsin. I lived in Wisconsin for 5 years, so cheese curds is definitely a must.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. And our entrees are awesome. We have a fairly new chef. He started at a funny time. He started right before COVID, and he's amazing. He just kind of had finally, after getting through the crazy last 6 months, he put out this new menu. Started at the end of July, and we've had awesome feedback. Really, really, really good food right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all your cheese. This is your charcuterie?
Yes, we're definitely known for our charcuterie.
You call it the farmer's platters?
Yep.
Cool. Oh, very nice. Perfect. Well, this is, like I said, I love your website, so it's very nice. Thanks for giving us a little guided tour of it. So anything else you'd like to share with anybody who's listening? Oh
my gosh. Come drink some good wine with us at Cru.
Very simple. That's perfect. All right, Jen, thank you very much for your time today. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to close out the show, so please stay on, and we'll get right back to you. So Thank you again for everything. And thanks for being a guest. All right. You heard it. The everyday, the people's sommelier. I think that should be her new slogan on social media. Anyway, Jen is an awesome person. I know her as well from not only EO, but she is in my forum. And she's just someone that has so much drive, energy, and passion for what she does. It comes out in everything that she talks about, not only in her business, but her family and her friends. She's somebody that is genuine above all. And she's hardworking, and I appreciate that she's able to come on and share with us a little bit of the insight about what made Cru Cellars, what makes Cru Cellars so special, not only for the Tampa community, but everywhere that it can be reached. So thank you again for watching. This is Entrepreneur You Should Know. Please follow us on our YouTube and Facebook pages. You can get this recording on our EO Tampa Bay page, as well as my personal Facebook page. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you very much.